I think anytime you're forced to sit down and process and really share those inner thoughts, the whole process becomes a therapeutic one. I think, writing poetry, that's when you're kind of allowing yourself to be in those feelings and also let go of whatever it is you need to let go, and also remind yourself of, all the good stuff happening within you as well. I think when people hear poetry and it resonates with them, I think that's something that becomes very validating and in so many different ways unifying. I think that's the beauty of art, though, is like that, being able to talk about that intersectionality. For me, at least personally, there's a lot of levels and things that are meeting all the time. And so, for example, in some of my pieces, I talk about being Black, and then I talk about being a woman, and then, mapping and navigating what the hell it means and looks and feels like to be a Black woman. In doing so, it does also bring in like that mental health component. Again, I think in so many ways, being able to express those things and work your way through those things does help my mental health. It gives me a place to process those things and also feel validated. So I may not specifically address like anxiety or depression, but I'll certainly talk about those feelings, where those feelings could possibly stem from, at least for me as a Black woman. She carried burdened body like forgotten curiosity. Entertained lightning bolts with holy thoughts, sent sentiments of goodbye to God's earlobe, and every night, before insomnia kicked in, before green Novocaine vanished into thin air, she bent knees, pressed pretty palms together, prayed for forgotten days of designated self-destruction. For her, self-love was a mere recollection of the good days that once tripped over each other. Was a mirage that could only be lusted after but never realized, so she spoke until words once lost in translation became unbound, until loving self didn't feel like a foreign concept, until loving self didn't feel like an act of defiance. And if I'm being quite honest, beauty still feels like vacation. Has never felt like home. I've not yet learned to recognize my own elegance. I still harness smiles the way roses captivate caskets, painfully perfected to appear pretty. Drop dead gorgeous, even woman. Never noticed, but always needed. Never enough, yet always the exception to the rule. Must sit up straight, stand tall, press kink out of hair, must silence self, for she need not take liberties with loose lips. Woman must face front line and bend spine, must be security but never secure, must endure, must endure, must endure. And if I am being quite honest, I fear hope's elusiveness. I've not yet learned to trust love, for love has always been a rebel in search of its origins, in search of smoldering epiphanies or even daydreams. Woman had to be subtle sand in time continuum, had to recollect quicksand millennium, had to carefully contemplate every moment as if the future did not exist, as if the past would continue to be relived. And it was, and it was, and it was, and I broke, and I broke, and I broke. Woman had to learn how to be a beast. Had to learn to unfold horizons and recall divine glory. Had to learn to be streetlights in wonder. Had to learn to celebrate small victories, like smiling or breathing or being here. Yeah.